The streets of Baltimore were covered in rain, which resulted in the city being covered with greasy neon reflections. Boyd Harris, a senior officer who had served for 20 years and had a reputation for proactive policing, drove through the Fairfield area, which was experiencing a lot of difficulties. His eyes moved like radar, searching for anything. Tonight, his attention was drawn to a classic Cadillac DeVille that was cherry red, but had rust ringlets on the sides. The driver of the vehicle was a black guy dressed in a gray suit. Boyd wondered whether he was out of place. A little too good for Fairfield. Got taken? Is it drugs? When Boyd pulled the Cadillac over, he turned on the lights on the roof. With his hands plainly resting at 10 and 2, the driver, Darius Thorne, quietly eased himself onto the shoulder. While Boyd approached, the beam of his flashlight cut through the precipitation and lingered on Darius's out-of-state license plates. Maryland tags in Washington District of Columbia, suspicious. Boyd snapped, "License and registration," as he commanded. The actions of Darius were slow and methodical as he cooperated. "It is evening, Captain. Is there anything wrong?" Boyd's lip curved upward. Way too peaceful, extremely eloquent. Typical characteristics of a player. "Pop the trunk." Darius took a momentary pause. "Do you have probable cause, sir?" The hand of Boyd was hovering close to his sidearm. "I determine what is likely to occur. Step outside, right now." The rain hit Darius's suit as he departed the building. His clothing were fitted and his shoes were shined. Boyd's beam raked him. Dealer money is money. It must be the case. Take a look under the hood. Foot stretched out. Although he obeyed, Darius's tone became more adamant. "You're making a mistake." As Boyd patted him down, he scowled at him. "Heard that before." It was just a small wallet and a silver fountain pen that he discovered. There was no firearm. Disappointed, he continued his questioning by asking, "Why are you actually here? What about the product? Are you going to meet a buyer?" Darius did not speak one word. At the same time, Boyd pushed him against the automobile and turned him around. "Answer me!" The eyes of Darius met Boyd's. "Don't be afraid. Not even ice." "You asked why I'm here, Officer Harris?" The boy became rigid. "How did he come to know my name?" Darius's hand slid gently toward the pocket on the inside of his jacket. His taser was drawn by Boyd. "Don't move!" As Darius muttered, "Relax. Just retrieving my credentials." He drew out a folio made of leather that was slender and dark. I opened it up fully. There was a hint of rain in the air. Boyd's breath was taken away. The golden shield, topped by an eagle, stood there, waiting for its owner. The FBI was written in 3 letters that blazed into Boyd's retinas underneath it. But not just any badge will do. Chief Deputy Assistant Director. It is Darius Thorne. It seemed as if Boyd's face had become pink. His legs quivered in fear. On the asphalt, the flashlight made a clattering sound. In the rain, which was sparkling like liquid fire on his badge, Darius took a step forward. "You made the assumption that I was a danger. You have come up with a plausible explanation. During the course of an ongoing counterterrorism operation, you managed to get your hands on a federal agent." His voice faded to a whisper, which was a fatal sound. "Tell me, Officer Harris, who's the predator now?" It was not simply a badge that Darius had displayed. 2 times he had touched his pen, which had a clandestine recorder. It was a blinking red light. "Every word, every shove," he replied. "All of them. Sent live to Quantico." With a stutter, Boyd stammered, I never knew." When Darius intervened, he said, "You weren't meant to know. We have been following you for some months. It was 6 erroneous stops, 3 reports that were not true. All of them are aimed at black guys who drive automobiles that are too nice." The man moved in closer. "It seemed to you like you were going for prey. You were the bait." The downpour was broken by the headlights. There were 2 unmarked SUVs that quietly slipped in. As they emerged, FBI agents brandished their badges. Darius finally let his composure to break, letting out a groan of exhaustion as they cuffed Boyd. Is it the Cadillac? A remnant from an undercover narcotics operation from the 1980s that has been repurposed to attract racists with badges. Boyd gazed at the ground with an empty expression. His professional life, his independence, it's gone. The reason for this is that he never believed that the person he considered to be lesser had the ability to shatter him. After seeing Boyd being taken away, Darius reached out and touched his earpiece. Attached to B in command. The cage contains the fox. This is the time to hunt larger wildlife. An indifferent and sterile hum could be heard coming from the fluorescent lights. Officer Boyd Harris was slouched on a metal chair, and the windbreaker that was provided to him by the department had been replaced with a gray jumpsuit that was the regular issue. His wrists were irritated by the restraints. On the other side of the scarred table, Darius Thorne was sitting calmly, studying a tablet while his sleeves were rolled up. The silver fountain pen, which was both harmless and incriminating, was lying next to it. Boyd's voice was hardly audible above a whisper. "You set me up." Darius did not raise his head. "Officer Harris, you deliberately stepped into it. Like to a moth, drawn to a flame that is highly predictable. There was a statistically significant trend shown by you. It is Fairfield, Cherry Hill, the Mondawmin, after nightfall at all times, always going for black males who were driving automobiles that you considered to be above their station." It looked as if vintage Cadillacs were a subject that particularly triggered your prejudice. The tablet was tapped by him. 2 weeks previously, security tape showed Boyd aggressively searching a Lexus driven by a young black college student. Another film showed him fighting with a middle-aged guy who was driving a restored Impala. Both clips were shown in silence. Probable cause? At long last, Darius looked directly into Boyd's eyes. Your reports are works of imaginative fiction, a suspicious odor while there was none present. There is a contradiction between erratic driving and traffic cameras. You turned your badge into a weapon. We just finished documenting it. This door was opened. A lady wearing a smart pantsuit and holding 2 paper cups that were steaming entered the room. In front of Darius, she positioned one of them. Cyber forensics agent Mara Vance is this person. With the speed of a scanner, her eyes traveled across Boyd. This live broadcast was absolutely flawless, Dad Thorne. Audio is very clear, and the graphics are clear. A secure chain of custody was established. In spite of the fact that we have previously retrieved Harris's duty records and dashcam archives, the inconsistencies are evident. She moved a file in the direction of Darius. And the info from the pen? Absolute gold. Immediately after he triggered it, a burst transmission of encrypted data was sent to Quantico. Boyd jerked his head. It is the pen. A couple of times he had tapped it against the vehicle. Darius drank his coffee in a leisurely manner. Harris, who was your instructor? From whom did you learn that profiling was a kind of policing? Who did not look the other way when you brought in easy collars with proof that was manufactured? Boyd's jaw was clenched tightly. I completed my work, managed to keep the streets clean. In response, Darius said, Your streets, using a low and menacing tone of voice. According to your preconceived notions, rather of cleansing, you were poisoning the environment. Your actions have tainted the well of trust that communities need in order to feel secure. Furthermore, you weren't alone yourself, were you? There was a prolonged, dense, and oppressive silentness. Boyd gazed intently at his restricted hands. Eleanor Rostova, the section chief, stood with her arms crossed and observed from behind the one-way mirror. A veteran with eyes that were the color of steel and hair that was a steel gray color. There was a younger agent who was shifting anxiously next to her. As the young agent mumbled, Thorne is playing him like a fiddle, he was referring to it. As Rostova spoke, her voice was gravelly. Patience, Agent Chen, she added. There is more than one rotten fruit that Darius is pursuing. He is beginning to dig for the root. Harris feels frightened and constrained. He is going to break. He will provide us with names. She made a motion in the direction of the questioning feed. Take note of the way Thorne expressed it. What was your teacher? Who was it that turned a blind eye? He is not inquiring about the existence of other people. Rather, he is informing Harris that he is already aware of the existence of other people. When Darius leaned forward, his intensity was a force that could be felt physically in the cramped space. Mr. Harris, that Cadillac was not a random piece of bait. It belonged to Marcus Johnson, often known as Shade. In the year 1989, made heroin out of it. Received a stop by a task team from the FBI. Task force that belonged to my father. Boyd blinked, displaying signs of confusion. Poetic, isn't it? The conversation proceeded with Darius, who smiled icily as he said, in order to uncover a new form of poison that is still infecting a town, an automobile that was used to poison the neighborhood decades ago has been repurposed. The venom that is adorned with a badge. Over the course of his career, my father fought against the most apparent predators. Apparently, some of the most caustic individuals are the ones who wear the uniform. The tablet was tapped once more by him. Sergeant Malcolm Vick, Boyd's immediate supervisor and field training officer for the first 5 years of his career, was represented in the personnel file that was discovered. Under Vick's stern picture, there were highlighted reports that included repeated allegations of racial profiling that were ignored internally, commendations for high, proactive stop numbers in minority communities, and suspiciously high rates of charges that were thrown as a result of his team's arrests. Sergeant Vick, Darius said in a resolute manner, it is your guide, acquainted you with the ropes. You were instructed on how to work the street, the ability to spot trouble, regardless of the cost to justice, how to make the statistics appear good and make them look good, or to the people. Finally, Boyd's disobedience was brought to an end. His shoulders sagged in place. It was how you got ahead, he claimed, and I believe him. You managed to avoid danger. Get a glimpse of the danger before it notices you. And the threat, Darius added, his voice lowering to a whisper that reverberated across the room. Was always people with black skin who were in the wrong zip code? Do you have the incorrect vehicle? Are you taking in the wrong wind? It's not simply that Vick instilled in you some negative behaviors, Harris. Your fear and your prejudice were nurtured by him, and he referred to it as intuition. He weaponized you by using you as a weapon. In order to preserve his retirement benefits, he will now hang you out to dry. It was a mixture of embarrassment, dread, and the growing knowledge that caused Boyd's eyes to fill up with tears. He stated, he claimed that the upper management didn't care. They said that they want the numbers. Getting to his feet, Darius said, it's possible that they didn't care back then. Both the tablet and the pen were retrieved by him. But the FBI is concerned today. What about Sergeant Vick? Following him on our dance card is he. You have the option to choose, Harris. Perish on the slope that Vick constructed for you? Please assist us in destroying it. Contemplate the person who really deceived you. Ask yourself who it was that gave you the poison. The agent, Agent Vance, moved ahead after receiving a nod from Darius. As indicated in an official statement, interview suspended at 1:59 a.m., Vance said. Boyd was escorted out of the room by her. Boyd halted, his voice becoming more resonant as they approached the entrance. Thorne, Darius took a momentary pause. You really did record everything, didn't you? To live? It was Darius who displayed the silver pen. It seemed to be nothing special, classy and refined. What is this? Used to be owned by my father. In the past, this was the industry standard, the modification, of course. There was a hint of something more profound than professionalism that appeared on his face. It was respect and heritage. Harris, he was a man who believed in the truth, when it was in an unsightly state, in particular when it was unattractive. To put it simply, it is the only thing that can penetrate the rot. The pen, which was a mute witness to the battle of a whole generation being carried forward, was pocketed by him. The officer should get some rest. Whatever is left of your life will be determined by the next conversation you have. Make an intelligent decision. In the antiseptic hallway, Rostova followed Darius as he made his way down the corridor. You did a great job, Darius. The pen that belonged to the father. That was an excellent move. Personalized. He deserves to know why, Darius said, his previous exhaustion returning now that the exhilaration was disappearing. He deserves to know why. And it's not only that he was caught, it's also what he was involved in, and what he continued to do. As Rostova checked her phone, she said, Vic is already going to start sweating. I have my sights set on him. In a state of panic, he called his union representative. We begin our journey at sunrise. Are you prepared to make the next move? Taking down a sergeant who has been decorated? There is going to be a severe backlash. That department, the labor unions, etc. For a moment, Darius paused at a window that overlooked the metropolis that was suffocating from the rain. His face was shone with splotches of color, thanks to the neon illumination. It was inevitable that the resistance would come, Chief, regardless of whether it was Boyd Harris, Malcolm Vick, or those in higher positions that sanctioned their actions. Now, this is not about a single poor halt. One culture is at issue here. It is a system. In the reflected city lights, his eyes were as hard as flint as he rotated with his head. In addition, the only way for systems to alter is to remove the contaminated components, regardless of how far the roots were planted. It's possible that Fox is held captive, Chief. Despite this, the den is still on the loose. In this instance, he did not take out the pen, but rather his phone. The command? It is Thorne. In preparation for Sergeant Malcolm Vick, prepare the warrants, and bring the public corruption unit to its senses. Early dawn is on the horizon. The connection was terminated, and his gaze, which was resolute, reflected the spreading and intricate silhouette of the metropolis. There was yet a long way to go in it.